Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 7, Text 18, translation. The great sage Maitreya said to Vidura, "My dear Vidura, as soon as King Daksha offered the clarified butter with Yajurveda mantras in sanctified meditation, Lord Vishnu appeared there in his original form as Narayan." Purport. Lord Vishnu is all-pervading. Any devotee who, in sanctified meditation, following the regulative principles, chants the required mantras in service and in a devotional mood, can see Vishnu. It is said in the Brahma Samhita that a devotee whose eyes are anointed with the ointment of love of Godhead can see the Supreme Personality of Godhead always within his heart. Lord Shyamasundar is so kind to his devotee. Advaryunataha visha yajamano vishampate diya vishudaya dadyao tatapra dura buddharihi. The great sage Maitreya said to Vidura, "My dear Vidura, as soon as King Daksha offered the clarified butter with Yajurveda mantras in sanctified meditation, Lord Vishnu appeared there in his original form as Narayan." Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Can you please put it louder, a little louder, so that I don't have to eat it before breakfast? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you. Excellent. So this chapter 4, chapter 7 of Canto 4 is called Sacrifice, the sacrifice performed by Daksha. And we see in the Bhagavatam many sacrifices have been described. Sometimes there is disturbance of sacrifice, sometimes the sacrifice is successful, sometimes the sacrifice is in the form of offering clarified butter or ghee, sometimes the sacrifice is in the form of offered grains, sometimes the sacrifice is simply chanting the mantras, like Prachetas did. So there are different kinds of sacrifices, and we know that for this age, the prescribed sacrifice or Yuga Dharma is chanting of the holy names, congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So Daksha is a person who is pious, who believes in God, and although he had so many mistakes and so many flaws, still he's doing here the right thing. He's doing the right thing in such a way that Vishnu is so pleased that he is coming. So one lesson that we learn from Daksha is that although we may have so many flaws, so many weaknesses, so many imperfections, that if we continue with the devotional service and if we continue performing yajna, then Lord Vishnu will bless us and he will appear. So there was one situation where Daksha was actually offending, insulting Narada Muni. Narada Muni just listened, tolerated, he didn't curse him, because he believed in him. He believed that he can change, and we see that Daksha changed. Daksha was very disturbed when Narada Muni took his children and took them on the spiritual path. And Srila Prabhupada mentions this also in his purport, that Narada Muni has been cursed to not have a home, but he has to always travel. So Narada Muni and Daksha are actually born from the same father, Lord Brahma. But Narada Muni is taking the role of his actually spiritual guide, a spiritual teacher. And sometimes we have a spiritual guide, or we even have a spiritual master, and sometimes we are offensive to the spiritual master, which is the worst thing one can do. It's called Guru Ninda. The offense to the spiritual master is like a mad elephant, described in compared to like a mad elephant. elephant entering the garden and destroying everything, destroying all the flowers and all the plants in the garden. So offending a spiritual master or a devotee is the worst thing one can do, actually. And King Rahugana, in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, he realized that when he was offending Jada Bharata, he first engaged Jada Bharata to be his palanquin carrier, and then when Jada Bharata started to speak, after King Rahugana has spoken a lot of nonsense, then he realized, oh my God, this person is a saintly person. He's fit to be my spiritual master, and I'm insulting him left and right. And he apologized. And he expressed that he is most afraid of offending a Vaishnava. So you may be performing austerities, you may be being super regulated, you may be doing so many things, and even preaching. We have seen so many preachers in ISKCON doing amazing things, like miracles. But because of offending devotees, they have left, they have fallen down. Because of pride, I'm better than others, and criticizing others' imperfections. So our mind is like a fly. It has a tendency to criticize, to go for what is bad. And one has to be very careful. You may be qualified in so many ways, and you may have pious previous credits and devotional service also in past lives, but if you offend devotees, then you will get in trouble like anything, and you will be prevented to make advancement, or at least it will be slowed down a lot. We see Daksha made many offenses, but all these struggles that are described in the Srimad Bhagavatam or also in Mahabharata, we see that ultimately all these devotees, if they were sincere, somehow they succeeded. They succeeded to attain Krishna consciousness and to attain perfection of human life. Now I've heard there is one article by Hridayananda Maharaj about hermeneutics, and I want to ask Devashi Radhika to explain to us what hermeneutics means. Do you know?
Yeah.
I don't know what it means, so please explain.
It is a tool to understand, for example, if we have rules and regulations or shastric principles. So these are tools in which we can comprehend or let's say interpret these rules or principles.
According to time, place, and circumstance.
Yes.
Yeah?
And hermeneutics is much more than that too, like which principle shall be interpreted in which way and from which line it comes. So it's just a set of tools to understand principles.
And their application.
Yes.
To understand principles and their application. Yeah. So he wrote one article where he explained Srila Prabhupada's instructions and how we should understand them. And I think in that article I read, or somewhere else, I can't remember, that there is many versions of Mahabharata. Also there is many versions of Srimad Bhagavatam. Like here, Bhagavatam has 18,000 verses. I heard that on higher planets, Bhagavatam has 2 billion verses. So, spiritual knowledge is unlimited. But Mahabharata, then they say that there is different versions and there is different explanations from different acharyas, and sometimes they are contradictory. There is so many things that can blow our mind completely. But ultimately, I think it's important to understand that we are eternal servant of Krishna and that we should surrender to Krishna, and other things will be revealed over time. Some things we don't understand. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada presents 2 contradictory versions of acharyas. Simply, humbly, he presents this, and he says this and he says this. And then when I was translating Prabhupada's books, I was scratching my head, and I was asking devotees who, like Sukhotra Maharaj or some other devotees who were translating, so, how can we understand this? There is 2 contradictory statements of 2 acharyas. about one point. And then one devotee told me, well, Prabhupada is simply presenting what acharyas say, even if it's contradictory. So therefore, regarding understanding Shastra, it is said, Yasya deve parabhaktir yata deve tatagurau tasyaite kathitakyarta prakashante mahatmanaha. Only to those great souls who have great implicit faith in Guru and Krishna, the secrets of the Vedic knowledge are revealed. So we learn also by revelation, not only by our own, brain power. We understand things also, especially realize things. So transcendental knowledge is vast. We have difficulty reading Bhagavad Gita once or twice, or even introductory books. What to speak of diving into Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar of Devotion, Krishna book, and then reading. If we go to higher planets, then we need to read 2 billion verses of the Bhagavatam, so it can take you like a few lifetimes. I mean, their life is longer, so I think it makes sense to have a longer Bhagavatam there, because life is much longer. And then Srila Prabhupada said in one letter, I think, that 4 books are most important to read. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Nectar of Devotion, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. So these 4. And I would say shorter version of this is first canto, Bhagavad Gita, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, which is summary of Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Nectar of Devotion. So these 4 also, this is like a smaller version of the most important books. And even Srila Prabhupada says in Bhagavad Gita introduction that Bhagavad Gita is enough. Bhagavad Gita is sufficient. Now, there is one unfortunate fact in ISKCON that devotees, they read before they join, but when they join, they have so many services that they actually don't take time to read. There is those who really cannot live without reading, so they always find time by hook or by crook to read. But some devotees, just because they have too much service or they are tired because of the morning program and sometimes the difficulty sleeping or too much service, then they neglect reading. And then after some time, they forget why they are serving. And after some time, they ask, why I'm here? And then they leave because, they forget why they are here. So we have to always feed our intelligence, feed our mind with reading and listening, hearing Srila Prabhupada. Just later, yesterday, I was very fortunate. One devotee uploaded to iPhone, because I didn't know how to do it on iPhone, uploaded on iPhone all Prabhupada's lectures. So now I have a whole audio library here and I can listen. even offline, I can listen even offline. Nowadays, with all these gadgets, we have access to transcendental knowledge, like on your palm, right? At the tip of your fingers. You can get it immediately. You can immediately access books if you're online, but even if you're offline, you can access audio if you have uploaded it to your phone or your computer. And so we can always expose ourselves to hearing about Krishna, hearing. Shravanam, without Shravanam, no other of 9 processes or other 8 processes will be actually successful. Shravana has to be there all the time. And once in Croatia, Satyananda Maharaj came and he was in his room. And usually when gurus come, I was in front of the door or around there to serve them in different ways. And once they brought breakfast to him, and he was listening to Srila Prabhupada lecture, and he invited me in the room and he said, "Oh, Akrura, listen, Srila Prabhupada's voice, ocean of protection. So it was very nice. Srila Prabhupada's voice is very pleasant also. So what I started to speak about is that what is unfortunate in ISKCON, actually I mentioned, that devotees stop reading, stop hearing enough, stop reading. And we don't take advantage of Lord's mercy, which is coming in the form of transcendental knowledge. So people say, oh, that's just a theory. No, it's not theory. Transcendental knowledge is alive if you open your ears and if you open your heart to it. And Srila Prabhupada didn't say about his purport, these are dry philosophical explanations. He said, these are my emotional ecstasies. So, when was the last time you have cried when you read Prabhupada's purport? They are his emotional ecstasies. We read and we think, oh my God, I don't understand half of it. So he said this is his emotional ecstasies. He was writing this in the middle of the night, when he was translating. And sometimes maybe it initiates some emotion, maybe, reading Prabhupada's purports. So therefore, to get benefit from the Shastra, what is very helpful is what, devotees are doing, but I again I'm proposing something that I think it's not done very often. Like, for example, you have classes, like yesterday there was 2 classes, one was in Prabhupada's room, one was in the library or a seminar room. And education, like, I think you have a vision that this becomes known, this center, this temple becomes known as educational center. That's wonderful. Like in Ljubljana, Slovenia, also, Ananda Prabhu, I think he has like maybe PhD in something. I'm not sure what. Maybe he has written also a book. He's a TP. He is involved in management, but he's also a teacher, and maybe I can say even a scholar. So he's into education. He likes Adipurusha Prabhu to come. He likes to invite swamis different to give lectures and courses. And that's very nice, education. But education without follow-up is not complete. So what is follow-up to education? Follow-up to education is application of education. How do you apply it? And I gave a seminar in Buenos Aires to their educational ministry members, education and follow-up. And I have given different ideas how to apply education. Because you can learn so many things, but nothing can change in your life. You can just remain a person of the same character, same level of character, I don't want to say low, same level of character that you had before learning all the verses. Sometimes learning verses and becoming knowledgeable may become just a source of pride. Oh, I know so much. But you are not changing your character. So what's the use? Vedas, Prabhupada says, are not meant for the discussion of armchair philosophers, but they are meant for the transformation of character. So if our character is not transforming, if we are not getting free from envy, anger, lust, greed, and other things, so our reading, our studying is not actually effective. So therefore, yesterday I had a session and one devotee was coaching me, practicing on me. So I was a client, and so the devotee asked me, what would you like to work on, speak about in this session? And I said, well, I want to speak about self-discipline. Then I spoke about self-discipline, and I was looking into different areas of my life, and I came to reading, improving reading, studying Shastra, discussing, and I came to the same conclusion that I came when I came here, that devotee success partnership can be a good solution to effective reading. So how can you read with another devotee? If you read together, you feel more responsible, more obliged to be focused, concentrated, and you can have assignments like action assignments that between your two sessions, because you can have a session once a week, for example, where you discuss certain topic, you can study and you can make a note of different points that you want to discuss, or maybe there is something you don't understand, you can ask senior devotees, or you can look in Wikipedia. And in this way, you keep your mind and intelligence very active during the week, because you have committed to your success partner that you are going to work on it, and you're going to report to him or her at the end, and you are going to discuss very deeply what you are reading. And this way, we are taking more advantage of this, and we feel more accountable to study. Otherwise, reading is important but not urgent. So you can always delay it, and you can always neglect it. And that's very unfortunate to do that. Because Prabhupada has invested so much, Acharyas have invested so much in writing books, in printing books, in distributing books. And we distribute books, but we don't read them. You have heard of Harinamananda Prabhu, who was a Sankirtan star for several years. And I met him here, maybe a couple of years ago. We spoke upstairs. And he said that he still reads Srila Prabhupada's books, he likes to read. He always had a taste for this, I remember, always had a taste for reading. And he was convinced that these books are so valuable that he could distribute sometimes 1,000 books a day, or 900 books or something a day. So these books are like worth of gold, or so they are so valuable, but we don't take advantage of them. Now, you can look from different angles. Sometimes devotees to say to Srila Prabhupada, wow, I have so much service, I have no time to read. And he will say, well, you are living what is in the books by serving. He was always having some encouraging words, but he would also stress, he would say, without hearing another extreme statement, without hearing your service will be karma. Just karma. So you have to hear about Krishna. And sometimes some disciple manager would not be in the class. Where is he? Prabhupada asks, they say, oh, he's busy with management. He said, no, call him in. Without hearing, his activity will be karma. His service will be karma. So it's so important to keep intelligence in a powerful state or a healthy state. Have clear understanding. It's so important to have a clear understanding. For example, my mind is like this. If I don't understand something, I can't accept it. If I understand that it makes sense to me. So I'm not speaking about, universes coming from the pores of Mahavishnu. I may say, well, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because I cannot do it, or you cannot do it, or humans cannot do it. So these things that are very incomprehensible, I'm not speaking about this, but generally it has to make sense. So we tend to believe in what makes sense to us, isn't it? What do we tend to believe? We tend to believe what makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, how can you believe it? So what makes sense? Does it make sense to you that there's someone else's God and not you? Well, I don't like the fact, but it may be possible. Why do you like the fact? Because I was aspiring to be God before, because Bogus Guru told me by meditation you will become God. And I was thinking, wow, that's a good idea. But I couldn't get into any other meditation. So some things we don't accept, or they don't make sense to us because we don't like them. We don't like them. But if you're honest and try to be objective, try to be a little like objective, you say, well, it makes sense that someone else is God, and I mean, Krishna. Actually, Michael Jackson said that when they explained to him what Krishna does, he would say, "This is all great, but I would like to be instead of him." I would like to be like him. And I think many conditioned souls would like to replace Krishna. But unfortunately, or fortunately, this place is already taken. So you cannot win this position. You can go very high, you can become Brahma. So now, we are materially diseased. The greatest disease is desire, material desires. So I have no idea how we are going to get rid of our deep desires. And we are so attached to our desires that we think they are special. They're really unique. But if you look at the desires of anybody, they're all the same. Everybody has the same desires. Everybody wants to be happy in some situation, in some relationships, in the material world. And they think, well, my desires are more pure than others. It looks like from the outside they are same, but actually they are special. So you think you are special. And if you don't feel special, you want to do something that is special, maybe dye your hair or do something, put something on your body or dress, special dress. Like, I have met some devotees, I think I was this little bit like this also when I joined, and I have met some devotees who say, well, I don't want to be a sheep, these people are following blindly, bowing down, honoring Guru. I'm more intelligent than them. I don't want to be a sheep, in the crowd. I want to stick out, I want to be pink, or whatever. There is one marketing book called Purple Cow. So imagine, Switzerland has a nice countryside, and you are driving in the car and you see cows, they're black and white or some color, normal color. And you think, well, these are cows, okay. Imagine if there was a pink cow. How would you look? Like this. So people want to be distinct. Therefore, they become pink or something else. One management guru says, distinct or extinct. If you are not different, then you will die. Extinction means your species will completely be destroyed. No more distinct or extinct. So I have to be different, at least externally, I have to dress differently or whatever. I don't want to be like Chinese, they are all in the same. Nowadays Chinese also are trying to be distinct because they are very influenced by the West. But they were all in communistic time. Still it's quite communistic, I don't know. Anyway, I haven't studied China. But, we say Chinese, they're dressed in the same, they walk the same, and, everybody's like a number and like this. So I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be like sheep. So sometimes people say, I'm like a black sheep in my family. And I say, no, you're not like a black sheep, you're a white sheep. Others are black, because you're a devotee. But because they say, they don't like me because I'm a devotee. They say, you're a black sheep in our family. I say, no, you're a white sheep. So you're distinct, but you're a white sheep. You're good. So why all of us want to be different? What do you think? Why every one of us want to be different than others? We don't want to be clones with anybody. Any guesses?
Because the soul is individual, so everyone is individual.
And that means individual
want to
means
express this individuality and feel special and
yeah. Okay. She was before you. Then you will say yes.
They get more attention when they step out.
Get more attention when they stay out. Okay.
If they need love and they cannot maybe not love themselves first and they stand out, then they get more attention than
Yeah.
among the others.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Maybe it's how evolution has conditioned us. Because when you stick out, you get attraction by the opposite gender. So you can procreate. And if you're not, then you die out.
Okay. Any other comments on being distinct, being different than anybody else, unique? It's today Kadashi, no? But everything is red. Okay. So, Bahu Syam, Bahu Shyam. Bahu means many, so and Shyam means Krishna. So God is one, He has expanded into many, and we are His expansions. So He has expanded into a variety of living entities because He likes to enjoy a variety of relationships with different living entities, and we are all different. It's true, but we are not different in the material sense, like we are trying to be different on the basis of false ego. We are different originally as spirit souls because we give pleasure in a unique way to Krishna. This is how we are different. Not in the sense, in the mundane sense that people want to be different. Or as you said, to attract attention. But we are different because only you can please Krishna in a certain way, in your way. Let's say. So Frank Sinatra is singing, I did it my way. And then one Prabhu, Nirantara, he's turning all the evergreen songs into Hare Krishna songs. He's changing the lyrics. And he changed this, I did it Krishna's way, not my way. But actually, I'm not sure if it's right. Because we all please Krishna in, maybe it's Krishna's way, but it's our own contribution to His service. It's actually it's our own way, in one sense we can say. Or we as an individual contribute to Krishna's pleasure by our unique service. So there's nothing wrong in being distinct, but this distinction is not material thing, it's actually a spiritual distinction, where we are pleasing Krishna in a certain way. And sometimes there is a disagreement between devotees, we should serve Krishna in this way, we should serve Krishna in that way. Some people like altar more like this, some people like altar more like that, and Krishna is accepting everyone's service, I think. Krishna is accepting everyone's service. So now, going back to desires, we all have desires, and sometimes we think, how am I going to get rid of these desires? Sometimes young people join, and then they say, after 10, 15 years, oh my God, I haven't enjoyed in this life, so I have to go back to the material world and enjoy. But actually, you had this experience of sense gratification in many, many past lives. Now you just don't remember it. You don't remember it. And you think, I'm missing something, because how can I become renounced if I don't experience a lot of sense gratification? And it is said there is Pravritti Marga and Nivritti Marga. Nivritti Marga is part of renunciation of sense gratification, especially sinful sense gratification, and Pravritti Marga is enjoying until you get fried completely. And you are fed up with this. So some devotees who are very fortunate, they actually at that stage, they have no attraction, no taste. And many devotees, they still have longing for satisfying the senses. And then we hear, oh, there is regulated sense gratification where you can gratify your senses and not go to hell as a result. So they are interested in this, and this is described in the Bhagavad Gita as flowery language of the Vedas. Flowery. We are trying to enjoy here, but this planet is like half hellish, half heavenly. But there's heavenly planets where you can have much more enjoyment. 10,000 years you can live. 10,000 years you can live. And you can enjoy much more. And there is much pleasant atmosphere for enjoyment. There is not so much stink. Like here, so many things are stinking like anything. But in the heavenly planets, there is no stinking. Here, like exhaust fumes are stinking from the cars, dead bodies are stinking, meat is stinking, because meat is like dead bodies. What else is stinking? I mean, different foods are stinking. Like some people, they like to eat dogs, then they put them to decompose, and then this is really delicious, like in Vietnam or somewhere. For some people, some food is so attractive, and for some people, like decomposed food is like a delicacy, but for some people it stinks like anything. It's horrible. So that's only about one sense. Then sounds in the heavenly planets, music is better. Forms, people are more beautiful. So we want to enjoy these sense objects, and they are much better on higher planets. So therefore, people who are doing yagyas in the past, sacrifices to go to heavenly planets and enjoy. And we have been there. Sometimes your astrologer will tell you, you came from higher planets. So we were enjoying there. You forgot it. And now you still think, oh, maybe I should go back. But it's very difficult to go back to Krishna from heavenly planets because it's too nice. It's difficult to go back to Krishna from lower planets because it's too hard, too heavy. So planet Earth is perfect. It's not too hellish, it's not too heavenly, and it's perfect for self-realization from going back to Godhead. And therefore demigods get born here so that they can go back to Godhead from here. So planet Earth is middle planetary systems, it's perfect for self-realization. So now, we don't have hope. We seem to have so many attachments inside. We want to enjoy, we want to have some romantic relationship, we want to enjoy sex life, eating, and we sometimes have no hope. I mean, I'm chanting for so many years, but still there is desires. But Krishna, when he sees that you are really persistent and you really want it, and you pray for it and you work for it, one day he will just take away this. It will be just like nothing for you. You will feel, oh my God, no more desires, no more sinful desires. That's amazing. How this has happened, I have no idea. I didn't even try sincerely enough, but the Lord was kind and He took it away. Or attachment to something or to someone, you just feel, wow, this is gone. It's amazing. How is it possible? It's possible by the mercy of the Lord, because you are not giving up, and He sees, and He wants to reward you, giving you some extra mercy, extra boost. Although you maybe don't deserve it, but He is saying, okay, Kripa Siddhi, here is some mercy, I take away your pain, I take away your attachment, and then you are free to serve, free to preach. So I believe this is possible, and I have some experience with this also, and that's why I'm sharing this with you. So have faith that Krishna can do anything with you, but only you can choose to be a devotee or not. And this choice will always be your test, every single day, every single month, every single year. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Do you have any questions? Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Mr. Prabhupada.